My name is Arin Lindauer, and you're listening to A Life Without Struggle. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 wonderful children, a 2-time best-selling author, and a highly driven and successful entrepreneur. In my 17-plus year career as a mindset and health expert, I know what holds women back from a life you only dream about. Whether you're a CEO, a businesswoman, or executive, I started this podcast because I have been where you are, and I know you want and deserve more out of your life. I believe women are limitless. We just get lost along the way. The process to get you there is the topic and purpose of this podcast. When you understand what you want, you can truly step into a life without struggle. Welcome, and I'm so thankful you're here. Welcome back to another episode of Life Without Struggle. My name is Arin Lindauer, and today we're going to dig into a very, very meaty topic on how do you know what's holding you back in weight loss. So how this topic even came into my brain and how I wanted to bring this was I've been doing a lot of content this week, and one of my pieces of content was a presentation at one of my networking groups that I'm a part of. And I had a question that was asked at the end of my presentation about how do you know why you're self-sabotaging? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a whole topic, which is going to be in this topic here today. And so I kind of brought this all together because we've got to know what's actually holding us back. And it's no different when it comes to weight loss than it is with our finances. Like, man, what's holding us back from like getting over this edge? Or what's holding me back in my career or in my own relationships, right? So many times we're too close to the problem that we're unaware. We completely miss and don't even realize things that are just normal to us, right? We've always done it this way, or we always have cake, blah, 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 or we always celebrate with food, ... So there's so many things that I can spot literally a mile away, but I get the privilege of talking with just hundreds upon thousands of people over my career and just living my own life, right? A lot of times I use a lot of my own personal experiences, and obviously I've been coaching clients. I mean, gosh, it is almost 20 years that I've been coaching, owned our business for now 16. And so anyways, I've got a lot to chat into on this topic because it really is everything. When you know the root of your problem, and sometimes it's a couple layers deep, right? And so when you know the root of the problem and you're just like, wow, that's it. That's all I got to do. It literally makes doing the things so much easier when you can just objectively step back and say, okay, this is what it's going to take. So what we're going to dig into is not understanding what the right strategy is. We're going to dig into self-sabotaging or looping or bad programming. So I'm going to speak into each of those. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is not clear on what you actually want. So what we're going to do here is we are going to dig into like, how do you know what the right strategy is? And this is very, very deep. So a lot of things go into this. Think about the weight loss industry. When you think about it, it is a multi-billion, if not trillion-dollar industry. There is always someone trying to sell you something. There's pills, there's powders, there's shakes, there's now injections. And here's the thing, there's a lot of companies who make a lot of money off of people being sick, unhealthy, overweight, morbidly obese. So do they really want you to be successful? Also think about our food and our quality of our food. What's interesting is some foods that we have here in the United States of America are not approved in other countries. There are officials at General Mills and a ton of other big brands that manufacture a ton of our food that have met decades ago saying, oh my gosh, we're addicting people to our products. Is this a bad thing? And it's gotten tucked under the rug because of money. So sure, I'm giving you my biased on some of this stuff, but it's not that far off. Okay. So you have to remember that by you taking care of yourself, you are actually not the norm. Most people don't even realize that they are overweight, that they are putting themselves at risk. They feel fine. They're okay. They don't realize how terrible they feel, okay? Or they don't think there's anything that can help them. So how do you know what the right strategy is? Well, I'm going to give you some thoughts to really consider on this because there are so many programs, so many coaches, so many trainers, so many gyms, so many products that it is confusing. And for the everyday person, I mean, think about this. How many different protein powders are out there? A lot. Which one's right for you? Probably multiple. Which one should I buy? Probably a couple. And so what you want to think about is what kind of information do I need to seek out in order to know that this is the right strategy, this is the right program for me. Now, one thing that I do, and this is after coaching clients for, almost 2 decades now, is I want to understand a little bit more. Tell me what your day-to-day is like. Tell me how long the weight has been on your body. What injuries or, has there been an event in your life that you put weight on? Has it been gradual over time? Was it post the kids? Was it post turning 40 or, somewhere in that zone? Has your body gone through changes? Are we in menopause, perimenopause? So there's a lot of things that you want to consider when it comes to, okay, what is the right strategy? So you want to think about what kind of workouts should I be doing? What's appropriate now? A lot of times it's like, man, I really enjoyed these kind of workouts. And so we try to go back and do them. And then we end up hurting ourselves or we don't see results. What kind of nutrition should I be doing? This person told me that keto was the best, but man, when I did it, I felt terrible. What am I missing? So typically speaking, we need to do a big assessment of where are you at today? What have you tried? What's worked? What hasn't worked? How many calories are you consuming? Do you know? Do you and this is another question that's always wild when I ask it, what do you feel is your opportunity? Where do you feel that you could do better? Almost every woman that I speak with knows, well, I snack too much at night. I drink too much wine. I, fill in the blank. And so it's really being honest with yourself and asking yourself, okay, these are some really nuts and bolts questions. How many calories am I burning in a day? How many calories am I consuming? If I'm being completely objective and clear, do I even know? For most of us, we have a energy surplus, meaning we're taking in too many calories. That is how you gain weight. In its most simplest form, that is how we gain weight. Then when we think about workouts, we think, oh, I need to do cardio. I need to burn as many calories. Well, typically what that does then is exactly we burn a ton of calories and now we're hungry. We've released a ton of hormones that are telling us that we're hungry. Then think about it like this. We're stressed. We've got a family. We're taking care of aging parents. We've got a stressful job. We're not sleeping very well. And so we've created a really good storm. So it's very challenging to understand, what is it? Is the chicken come first or did the egg come first, right? Which is it? So what you want to think about when it comes to workouts is For most women who desire weight loss, less is more initially because we need to do a hard reset on her metabolism. So this is something that I do in my coaching program. I don't even call it out like this because I try to keep it extremely simple for women and not to get too far into the weeds. But I thought, you know what, today let's go a little bit deeper with what we're talking about. For most women, their metabolism, their gut health, everything is just shot. And what we need to do is a hard reset. We need to pull calories in. We need to reduce most working out. And we just need to get really focused on the basics. Because when we focus on the basics, such as sleep, such as drinking water, such as, eating solid meals, such as moving our body, but not too much. When we focus on those things, we call that the foundation. For most people, this is too simple. That's crazy, Arin. Why would that work? Well, I can tell you why it works is because it really stabilizes hormones. It also starts helping to repair gut. So typically when we think about doing these things, we're being very health conscious, we're eating better, foods aren't inflaming our body, we're getting more sleep, our cortisol isn't as high, ghrelin and leptin, which are two hunger hormones, are not being released as high. So when you've got ghrelin, leptin, cortisol all lowering, create a perfect scenario for weight loss. So that is the first thing we need to understand. Then we've got to understand some nuances around nutrition and some nuances around what is the appropriate workout. So for most women in weight loss, we just need to simply very gentle to our body. I said walk, not run, okay? Then once we start seeing the needle move, 10, 20 pounds, then we can start considering some resistance training, and we want it to be progressive in nature. The reason I say progressive resistance training is we don't need random workouts, don't need muscle confusion, which isn't a thing. We don't need HIIT workouts. We don't need body pump. We don't need Orange Theory. I mean, I could really go off, but what we need is structure. We need to progressively build our muscles. We need to tax the body, but not too much. So there's such a Goldilocks zone when it comes to workouts. And for most, they're just going to discount it and say, okay, that wasn't enough. It didn't leave me on the ground. I mean, in Orange Theory, I had so many splat points and blah, 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 or whatever it's called. And, the trainer was yelling at me and I went faster and harder and, I had sweat pouring off my face. Listen, I don't care. Don't need it. Okay? Don't need it. And so for most women, when we're trying to balance hormones, when we're healing the gut, we're focusing on the foundation, then we want to move into our resistance training. We need to focus on very foundational movements such as back squat, such as deadlift, such as bench press, okay? Whether we're doing that with bands, dumbbells, barbells, doesn't matter, okay? And so we start to train the body. The muscles start to develop. What's really cool then is your metabolic process goes up. So now we're burning at a higher rate. Now, what most women will realize is they're getting a little bit more hungry when they're working out. And so by design, I truly and sincerely don't like when women start resistance training first. I honestly, it's really made me rethink what we do in our gym, because when you start resistance training straight out of the gate, you get really, really sore. You are super duper hungry. And so it makes it very challenging to balance out in those first few weeks, I would say first month, but it can be done. So understanding these strategies, that I haven't told you anything that is like, oh my God, that is earth shattering, Arin. But this is what's so frustrating about our industry is we want to make it so damn complicated, or we want to make it that, well, you have to buy my pills, powders, and shakes. Like, listen, no, you don't. And that's what's so interesting is even I have evolved full circle. I used to believe that you had to do a cleanse. I used to believe that you had to take all these vitamins. I used to believe that you had to take all these shakes and stuff. And listen, like even myself, I have learned and I have evolved, and stripping it back is what I have found to be the best strategy. For most women, they're going to need some form of protein powder, and that's a pretty normal standard for most of us. Can you get all of your protein from food? 100%. But for busy, driven women, typically we're going to need something. So understanding the right strategy is something that you can do for the rest of your life. Okay, if something is so darn restrictive that you can't do it for the rest of your life, run. If it requires you to buy someone else's products and food, I'm just here to tell you there's no magic secret, okay? When you purchase, for example, like a food service, they are 100% restricting your calories that you could do yourself. Sometimes food, like different food preparation companies, sometimes that can be really helpful because it really helps you dial in, oh, that's what 400 calories looks like. Or you could just simply weigh your food, measure it out, and you're like, oh, okay, that's what 400 calories looks like. So there's a lot of nuances around this, but I want to tell you, if you feel like you can't do it for the rest of your life, it's not the right strategy, okay? And when it comes to some of these injections with some of these drugs that are meant for type 2 diabetes, just be so careful on those. You have to progressive resistance train if you're going to use those. And I don't condone it, because if someone was just morbidly obese and they just needed something to help them, maybe I would consider that as a strategy. But I'm here to tell you, do the work. Just do the work. Just show up, take care of yourself. And that's what's going to get the needle to move. Okay. So many times we think we're missing something. And 99.99% of the time is we just need to see it through long enough. Okay. That is truly the missing secret to most things, is we just need to run the play long enough. You have to run the strategy long enough and have the consistency in your nutrition, the consistency in your workouts. That is what's going to produce the desired result. So many times I will have women say, I really want just toned arms and legs. I want my stomach flat. And here's the thing, nutrition all day, every day, and then the resistance training. Resistance training will take time. It takes way more time than anyone ever realizes it's going to take. And here's the thing, so many women will say to me, but I don't want to get big and bulky. Trust me, you are not moving, not even close to enough weight to get big and bulky. It takes a lot, and you got to eat a heck of a lot more protein to get big and bulky. No one is getting big and bulky, okay? Like that, it's not physiologically possible. But I always have to put that out there, and I just kind of chuckle because it's always a concern of women. I just don't want to get big and bulky. Like, you're not going to. So let's dig into this self-sabotaging, this looping, this bad programming. So how do you know what's holding you back? This can be everything. So reasonably speaking, a woman can know, hey, I got to eat better. Reasonably speaking, she can know, okay, cool, I need to do these workouts. And then, okay, I'm not really missing anything. I just got to consistently run this play. But she keeps being or repeating terrible behaviors such as binge eating. Or then once she binges, then she restricts really heavily. Or we had a bad day, therefore we get ice cream, but it turns into ice cream multiple times per week. Or instead of just having a couple tastes of the Ben and Jerry's, we have the whole pint, right? Which is, millions of calories. But we keep coming back. And so this is what I'm talking about, is not, okay, I had a moment this week. It was one time and it was just a little bit of whatever. I'm not talking about that. Listen, that's called normal. Like if you don't have a little wiggle room in your program, like we ain't living, okay? But here's the deal. If you find yourself constantly going back to, I have to have, 3 drinks or 2 drinks every single night, or I have to have a bottle of wine every single night, or, I'll eat perfectly all day long, but then the second, the clock strikes 9, I'm in that pantry and I can't turn it off. That's the stuff that I'm talking about. Or everybody else said they were going to Mexican, so I'm just going to go because, and I'm going to get what everybody else is getting, and I'm not going to make a better choice because I don't want to be that weirdo. That's the stuff that I'm talking about, because this is a pattern. And this is something that I want you to get wildly curious, looking into your own personal habits of where are we just, this doesn't matter, don't worry about it, or and this is really no different. Think about it. If you were in massive amounts of debt, let's say you've racked up all the credit cards, but yet you still go to Target and buy stuff that wasn't on your budget. It's no different. It's the same behavior. So what we have to understand is, okay, what is the thing that I'm feeling, that I deserve it, or I had a tough day, therefore I can have a sleeve of Girl Scout cookies, right? Like, we have to ask ourselves, okay, what is it? And we got to name it. Okay, it's the sleeve of Girl Scout cookies, for example. And we have to ask ourselves, okay, what can I learn in this moment? Because I know I shouldn't eat the Girl Scout cookies, but damn it, I want it. And so we have to dig into understanding the emotions around it. And we have to understand, where did these emotions come from? Okay, because as quickly as we can decide that we don't need it and we don't want it, that's how quick we can just remove this from our programming. The problem is we've done it so many darn times. And I am going to speak into discipline. This is something that I see so many people, it's not just women, it's men too, but just people in general, even myself. I have caught myself, girl, you're not disciplined at all. Like, you give in 2 seconds. And it takes a lot more to understand, why am I not showing up the way that I desire to be? And so this becomes a very deeper conversation, and it kind of segues into my last point of, we're not clear about what we actually want. So if you see yourself sabotaging or looping, there's typically a program that's running. There's just a thought process. We've always done it this way. And there's something lurking that you're like, why can't I just break this? Because the second you decide that you're done with said behavior, you're done. Okay. So these are the spots that I see hold people back. And in this last point that I want to make here, and I really think, if you're like, okay, I know the strategy, I know the play. Okay. All right. Self-sabotage. I think I'm really good there. I think I've got things pretty under handle. Do I have a gimme now and again? Sure. But then the last one is not really clear on what we really want, or we don't feel that we deserve the things that we desire. Or is it even possible? I have this conversation with clients who come into our gym, and clients that I serve online is, do you think I can really do that? You think I can really get to that number? And I'm like, yes, 100% you can. But then they follow up with, well, but that's a little crazy. If I just got to 150, I'll be fine. And it's like, well, why don't we get there and then we can reevaluate? That's always my reply to that is, hey, I get it. Right now, you've been trying to get to this number on the scale and you haven't been successful. So I understand that the ultimate dream goal doesn't even compute right now. Totally get that. It's like someone saying they want to be a billionaire, but they haven't hit 1 million. Like being a billionaire isn't even in the wheelhouse right now. So have to get really clear on, okay, who is this woman that I desire to be? And you guys have heard me talk about this till I'm blue in the face. But again, we have to be so clear that we can see her. I had a client that listened to, I think it was one of my Facebook Lives, and I just appreciate this so much. She was just like, okay, by the end of the year, this is what I want to do. And I kind of worked the goal backwards. I saw we had 16 weeks. Oh my gosh, 16 weeks left in the year. And I said, you know what? This goal is totally achievable based on your track record, based on what I know you can do, like totally achievable. And it was just one of the coolest moments to really step back and say, okay, I originally had this goal. And now I want to reconsider because I've already seen these results. And this is what I really desire. This is what I really want. This is who I really want to become as a part of this process. I also said something that really struck home is want to enjoy your weight loss journey. I know that sounds so funny, and I hate even saying it myself because I feel like it's so cliche. And I'm even going to relate this back to growing and scaling a business that you got to enjoy it. And I really, truly didn't understand this for a very, very long time. Obviously, I think with age, we get more mature some days, and we think about things a little bit differently. And it really is about this journey. And it's probably one of the biggest things that I want to instill in our kids is like, man, enjoy this. Like, I couldn't wait to be out of high school because I just wanted to go to college. I couldn't wait to get out of college because I wanted to be in the real world. I couldn't wait to be in the real world. And then I got into the cube farm and I was like, this sucks. And I'll never forget, I was like, is this it? Like, really? Is this it? And then I'll never forget getting married, and God love Tony, but I was like, this is it? And then we wound up in counseling. It was all good. But I was like, oh, I just thought there was like some knight in shining armor that was going to come out. But in all seriousness, and I love Tony dearly, but there were so many marks in my life that I was like, okay, if I can just get here, I win. And then I realized like, oh, no. And what I realized too is I sped through a lot of things in life that I probably shouldn't have, that I probably should have taken my time and really savored and really, took in all the experiences, that it wasn't to sprint to the next milestone. And that's what I want to tell any woman in weight loss is to enjoy this process. I know it's not always enjoyable. I know it can be very frustrating. I know that it can be challenging. Look at each challenge and say, okay, I got this. Look at each workout and go, you know what? I don't really know why she's got this programmed, but we're going to trust the process and we're going to get after it. I know in my workouts, sometimes I'm like, holy moly, we're going to do what? And half the time I've made these workouts. But it's all about the challenge and the thrill and what can I learn in this moment? And I want you to really embrace what's holding you back. Wildly curious. Do you have a plan? Do you understand, how to fuel your body? Do you understand how to properly move your body? Do you feel like something's missing? And maybe you just need the validation that like, hey, nothing's missing. You just need more reps. You need to put more time in to actually see. There's so many times that I see women get frustrated after a month. And I'm like, hey, I promise if you keep doing what you're doing, that scale is going to drop. And it does every time they stick with it, right? Then you want to think into, is there something that I'm doing? Do I catch myself buying things at Target, even though I know my credit cards are maxed out and I probably shouldn't do that? Do I feel clear on what it is that I desire, and do I get any emotions around that? Do I feel undeserving? Do I feel like I'm not worthy of it? Do I feel like, what's the point? Those are really big things to dig into, and we can remove any programming that is not serving you. So I hope this is helpful in helping you understand what could potentially be holding you back. Dig into this stuff and get really, really clear on, hey, I'm moving in the right direction. I just need more time. Hey, maybe I do need some help. Maybe I need someone who's professional, who has done this a million times and can take my situation and help me understand that I'm no different. I just need to put in the reps. Or maybe it is that something's lingering and we just got to rip that out. We got to pull it out. But I'll tell you what, make the decision to pull those emotions out, pull them out and move forward. It's done. Okay. All right. Well, I hope you guys are having an amazing week. Thanks for tuning in. And if you think of another woman that could benefit from this podcast, please share it with her. All right. Thank you.